My name is Akshay. I'm a junior finance major at Penn State, and I'm from Collegeville, Pennsylvania, so like right outside of Philly.
Hi, I'm Blake. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Both of you have disabilities. And what I'd like to do is talk about your relationships to your disabilities.
My friends were the worst. Like during popcorn reading in English, they would wait for the biggest paragraphs and then call on me.
Yeah.
Getting older and coming of age, people stop asking questions, and I think that's like one of the most beautiful things about being a kid is like the just blissful ignorance and the idea that you can sort of ask anyone anything without thinking about repercussions.
So I tried it, and I went, all right, your total is, and he goes, oh, bless you, because he thought I sneezed, so I just had to be like, oh, thank you, you can put your card in now. Like, I didn't need
I would say sometimes like I'm so cognizant of other people's discomfort that whether or not it creates any discomfort for me, I just like to avoid the situation altogether.
I feel like the vast majority of my stuttering isn't actually heard. It's me trying to kind of dictate what words I can and can't get away with.
But something that I always grew up on was the fact that everyone sort of faces their own challenges. Some people just deal with problems that are more visible than others, and some you just can't see. So that's like what I always used to try and live by.
Do you remember the first person who was not in your family, who heard your stutter, but treated you or interacted with you as though it was just whatever, who didn't pay attention to it, didn't point it out, didn't anything? Do you have a memory of that by chance? This is just out of curiosity.
You mean like they just kind of ignored it?
Yeah.
Or I feel like most people do, just out of respect. Whenever I was young, I mean, I would have my classmates ask me questions about it because they were young too, and they didn't really know any better. But I don't really think I was ever just ignored about it. I mean, I've had people not know what was going on. Like I was ordering a sub last week at the East, I forget what it's called, the sub place, and I was trying to say Chipotle mayo, which is just the worst word ever. The lady behind the counter was like, oh, you had to think about that one, huh? I was like, no, sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've never really been like kind of disregarded though.
Mm-hmm. Just like not seeing it.
Yeah.
Akshay, how about you?
When it comes to the idea of not noticing, I think people definitely notice, but I think getting older and coming of age, people stop asking questions, and I think that's like one of the most beautiful things about being a kid is like the just blissful ignorance and the idea that you can sort of ask anyone anything without thinking about repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say as a kid, I definitely got asked a lot more questions than I do now. I think people that I meet now for the first time will sort of just process it and then not ask any questions, which I honestly prefer. I'm not like afraid of answering any questions, but I would say more so in childhood, you'll get like just, oh, like what happened to you? Like, were you born like that? Questions like that.
Yeah, just like really authentic. Like the question was authentic.
Right.
Like a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, you're just gonna get it, man. There's no judgment either. What's like something that people say or do that is most uncomfortable for you?
I would say when people try to talk for me in like a group setting, Like if I'm talking to you one-on-one and you want to help me out, I'm fine with that. But if we're in like a big group and you try to like be the hero and swoop in and save me, like I don't like that very much. I'd rather you just not do that. Like that kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Just take all the time in the world. Like it's
Yeah.
Are there certain words you try to avoid?
Oh yeah. There's certain
What
words
are your
that
bad
I've
words?
learned I can't do. Like so there are certain situations where my speech is worse. For example, if I'm reading out loud and I can't choose my own words, train wreck. If I have to ask for like permission or something, or like if I have to ask to be able to, you know what I mean? It's worse there too. So like in school, I would learn. I learned that if I have to use the bathroom, I can't say can I. I have to say may I, because if I say can, it's dicey. Things might get bad. I got laughed out of the room one time because I tried to say can and it didn't work out for me.
Back in like grade school or something?
Yeah, I mean, they're my friends, so it was
Yeah.
fine.
Listen, man, I'm imagining being your friend in like fourth grade, fifth grade, and I'm imagining me, like I'm your close friend, and I imagine me learning all the words you can't say or you struggle the most saying, and then I would just want to try to get you to say, that's what we would do.
Well, my friends were the worst. Like during popcorn reading in English, they would wait for the biggest paragraphs and then call on me.
Yeah.
It's brutal. But I mean, it's I I laugh about it. Like it's fine. There have been and there are times where it's genuinely funny. Like I told this story last year, but I work at Dairy Queen, and I was on the register, which I should know better. But it was a bad day where I was working long hours. I was tired. I didn't sleep much. I had a cold. All those things make it worse too. Like if I have like sinuses or something, it's all kind of connected. But this guy ordered something, and I was trying to tell him his price, and it was $7.14. So I tried it, and I went, "All right, your total is," and he goes, "Oh, bless you," because he thought I sneezed. So I just had to be like, "Oh, thank you. You can put your card in now." Like I didn't.
Yeah.
Like it's funny at times. So like I'll laugh at it, but you know, what was the question again?
No, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Just talking about your friends. Bro, okay, so Akshay, how do you manage other people's discomfort and yours? Like how oftentimes do you go out of your way or do something to make other people more comfortable? Like we gave the example of handshakes or something.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say sometimes like I'm so cognizant of other people's discomfort that whether or not it creates any discomfort for me, I just like to avoid the situation altogether. Like I know I mentioned sometimes I'll just sort of shake hands with someone and take it, but more of like I think fist bumps are like a lot easier, or just saying hi to someone and not like greeting them that way, I think is a lot easier. I think it saves me the discomfort, but then I know it's going to be more awkward for the other person almost every other time. So it's just like, let's both kind of just skip this like 10 seconds of whatever it might be and just move forward.
Dude, that's cool, right? I mean, it's like, let's just skip it. So you're constantly managing other people's emotions and thoughts and feelings, right? I mean, which in the end reflect back on you, right? So if you and I are interacting and I'm uncomfortable, well, then you got to deal with my discomfort, right? So then it's in your interest to get me to feel comfortable, like whatever you know that I need to feel comfortable. Like if we haven't shaken hands yet and you're not like, all right, this guy is trying to shake my hand, just do something. So what you're saying is you're going to take that initiative.
Right. And I think it helps too, like taking that initiative. I feel like over the last couple of years, especially being in college, taking that initiative and just learning to embrace it, I've become a lot more confident and well-spoken, just learning how to start conversations with people and sort of dictating my own terms. I think it's helped a lot. Dude,
you're the way you speak, I mean, you're really super, like very direct and very confident, clearly.
Thank you.
Same
with you, dude. But same with you, like to get up here and have the conversation, right? That's huge. When you initiate, you're like, okay, man, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going all in, right? Like talking in here. Do you feel a sense of confidence just because you're doing it, or how much is that built on confidence?
This is different for me because I'm talking about having a stutter, so I don't have to hide it. I feel like the vast majority of my stuttering isn't actually heard. It's me trying to kind of dictate what words I can and can't get away with. And like I mentioned earlier, I can usually tell when it's coming. Like it's like a sneeze where like, you know, like you feel it coming before you actually sneeze. I can usually tell. So then I can kind of back out and change the word, and like the person I'm talking to has no idea that like I'm doing mental gymnastics just to hold a conversation with them, and they can't even tell.
So when you're talking, like in a room like this, when you are trying to get a word out, and you're a couple times here, like you really struggle. In a room like this, you can't feel the energy. But if there were just a few people, would you be able to feel people tense up?
Yeah. Right now, I'm taking CAS 100, which is nightmare of a class.
Dude, if you're online, that's the speech class. You have to give public speeches.
Yeah. And it's a room of like 20 people or so. And every time I give a speech, it ends up being like, you know, twice as long as the rest of them because it kind of gets dragged out. But I can always kind of tell everyone is kind of like in their chairs, like, you know, just kind of like they feel bad for me, but you know, I've been doing this long enough that, you know, it's fine. Plus, like right now, I'm just having a conversation. It's not that bad, but if I'm giving a speech, it's like every other word. Like I can barely even get my sentences out.
And so here, like the purpose of this class is just going to make things more relaxed here. And if you feel like it's more relaxed, then that must relax you. How often have the two of you thought about like your own discomfort, like the need to, like I gotta get through this. Like I gotta work. I gotta deal with my own discomfort here. Like I have this disability that's with me forever. Like I'm gonna have to do something. How often is that in your mind?
I sort of said this earlier, but I used to think about it a lot more as a kid when you're in a lot more social interactions that can lead to more like blunt or brutal honesty. I don't really think about it anymore. I'd say something I grew up on, like a big thing that my parents would, and I'll preface all of this by saying I was really grateful to have like really, really strong support system, whether that was friends or family. But something that I always grew up on was the fact that everyone sort of faces their own challenges. But the way that my parents would always tell me is that some people just deal with problems that are more visible than others, and some you just can't see. So that's like what I always used to try and live by. But yeah, it would be hard. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it a lot growing up in like middle school, high school, when you're trying to figure out who you are as a person too. But coming into college, I'd say I definitely think about it a lot less. Didn't really think about it at all. I think you asked earlier, what kind of questions do you get and stuff?
Yeah.
People ask like, what is it like? And the answer is like, I feel just as normal as everyone else because I don't know what it's like to be quote unquote normal. So the way I experience everything and the way I have to adapt from things like maybe tie my shoes a little bit differently or just like everyday things, you just kind of learn how to figure it out. I know there are instances where, and I'll like backtrack a little. I know there are experiences where sometimes people lose limbs, fingers as such through like injury or accidents. Like I was born with one hand, so everything that I experience from day one is just how everything has to be. So I've never like, when people ask how is it, like I wouldn't be able to tell you how anything different would be.
Yep. Right. It's like, how is it to be 5 feet tall versus 6'6", right? Like you can't. Yeah, I hear that. So I think the question of, do you think I'm weak is like, it's like the only weakness, but it sounds like there is no weakness even for both of you, right? But it's this idea then, sociologically speaking, there are these external pressures, external factors and forces that are shaping the way you walk through the world. What I'm hearing you both say is, yeah, but we just adapt to it. The world, this is just the normal world for us. And so therefore there's nothing strange about it. There's nothing to be weak about or not weak about. It just is because of normalcy, right? Like you don't have to like practice getting strong or something. Practice going out into the world. It just is. That's what I think that a lot of people don't really understand about disabilities.